Jason Cole, a 38-year-old millionaire renowned for his groundbreaking innovations in artificial intelligence, believed his wedding day would mark the beginning of his happiest chapter. He stood at the altar, surrounded by a sea of familiar faces, his heart racing with anticipation. The grand ballroom of the Ritz-Carlton sparkled with crystal chandeliers, delicate floral arrangements, and the soft glow of candlelight. His soon-to-be wife, Olivia Hart, aged 29, was moments away from walking down the aisle, her beauty and grace already legendary among their social circle. Before we dive in, show some love with a like and drop a comment. It really helps us bring you more powerful stories like this one. Alright, let's jump right in. The guests, a mix of Silicon Valley elites, childhood friends and family members, buzzed with excitement. Jason's success story was well known, from a college dropout with a dream to the CEO of one of the most valuable tech companies in the world. Now he was about to add another achievement to his list, marrying the woman of his dreams. As the string quartet began to play the wedding march, Jason's eyes swept across the room, taking in the faces of those who had supported him throughout his journey. His gaze paused briefly on a familiar figure seated discreetly in the back row. Sophia Lane, his ex-girlfriend from his early startup days, sat with quiet dignity, her presence a testament to their mutual respect and maturity. At 35, Sophia exuded an air of quiet confidence, her success as a renowned neuroscientist evident in her poised demeanor. Jason had invited her out of a sense of closure and friendship, believing that their past was just that, the past. Little did he know that Sophia carried a secret that would soon shatter the perfect image of this fairy tale wedding. The ceremony proceeded with all the pomp and circumstance befitting a millionaire's nuptials. Olivia, resplendent in a custom-designed Vera Wang gown, glided down the aisle, her emerald eyes locked on Jason's. The couple exchanged heartfelt vows, promising eternal love and devotion. As the officiant asked if anyone had reason to object to this union, a momentary silence fell over the gathering. It was in this breathless pause that Sophia rose from her seat, her hands trembling slightly as she stepped into the aisle. The room collectively held its breath, confusion and shock rippling through the guests. Jason's brow furrowed, a mix of concern and bewilderment crossing his face as he watched his ex-girlfriend approach the altar. Sophia's voice, though soft, carried clearly through the hushed ballroom. "I'm sorry, Jason," she began, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. "But there's something you need to know before you say, 'I do.'" The weight of her words hung heavy in the air, the once joyous atmosphere now thick with tension. As Sophia continued to speak, her revelation unfolded like a slow-motion car crash that no one could look away from. She spoke of a child, a son, born shortly after their relationship had ended 7 years ago. A son that Jason had never known existed, a secret Sophia had kept out of fear and misguided protection. The impact of her words was immediate and profound. Olivia's face drained of color, her bouquet slipping from her grasp and hitting the marble floor with a soft thud. Jason stood frozen, his mind reeling as he tried to process this life-altering information. The guests murmured in shock, the scandal already beginning to spread through whispers and discreet text messages. Sophia's voice cracked as she explained her reasons for coming forward now. "I couldn't let you start this new life without knowing the truth," she said, her eyes pleading for understanding. "Our son, he's 6 now, and he deserves to know his father. And you, Jason, you deserve to know him." The once picture-perfect ceremony had descended into chaos. Olivia, tears streaming down her face, turned to Jason, searching his eyes for any sign that this was all a cruel joke. But the look of shock and confusion on his face told her everything she needed to know. This was real, and their perfect day had just been shattered into a million pieces. Jason, always the composed businessman, found himself at a loss for words. His mind raced through the implications of Sophia's revelation. A son. He had a son. The weight of this newfound responsibility crashed down upon him, mixing with the guilt of not being there for the first 6 years of his child's life. As the reality of the situation sank in, the reactions of those around them varied wildly. Jason's parents, seated in the front row, wore expressions of shock and disbelief. Olivia's family, on the other hand, radiated anger and indignation. The bride's father, A stern-looking man in his 60s stood up, his face red with fury. "What is the meaning of this?" he demanded, his voice booming through the ballroom. Sophia, her composure cracking under the weight of the moment, began to explain further. She spoke of her fears as a young, ambitious scientist, worried that a child would derail both their careers. She talked about the countless times she had picked up the phone to call Jason, only to lose her nerve at the last moment. "I know I've made a terrible mistake," she said, her voice barely above a whisper, "but I couldn't let another day go by without you knowing the truth." As Sophia's words hung in the air, Jason finally found his voice. I need a moment," he said, his usual confidence replaced by a vulnerability no one had ever seen before. He turned to Olivia, his eyes filled with a mixture of confusion and apology. "Liv, I don't know what to say. I had no idea." Olivia, her makeup streaked with tears, took a step back from Jason. The hurt and betrayal in her eyes were palpable. "How could you not know?" she asked, her voice trembling. "How could you invite her here today of all days?" The once celebratory atmosphere had completely evaporated, replaced by a tension so thick it could be cut with a knife. Guests shifted uncomfortably in their seats, unsure whether to stay or quietly make their exit. The wedding planner, a petite woman in her 40s, frantically whispered into her headset, trying to manage the unfolding crisis. As the initial shock began to wear off, the practical implications of Sophia's revelation started to sink in. Jason's mind raced with questions. What was his son's name? What did he look like? Did he have Jason's eyes or Sophia's smile? The desire to know his child warred with the guilt of the pain he was causing Olivia. Olivia, for her part, struggled to reconcile the man she thought she knew with this new reality. She had always admired Jason's integrity and honesty. Now she found herself questioning everything about their relationship. "Did you ever truly love me?" she asked, her voice barely audible over the murmurs of the crowd. Jason's response was immediate and heartfelt. "Of course I love you, Liv. This doesn't change that. I need time to process all of this." But even as the words left his mouth, he knew that everything had changed. The future they had planned together now seemed like a distant dream, shattered by the weight of this newfound truth. As the tension in the room reached a fever pitch, Jason's best man, a longtime friend and business partner, stepped forward. "All right, everyone," he announced, his voice carrying authority. "I think it's best if we give the couple some privacy to discuss this matter. If you could all please make your way to the reception area, refreshments will be served." The guests, many still in shock, began to file out of the ballroom. Whispers and speculations filled the air as they left, the scandal already spreading beyond the confines of the hotel. Jason, Olivia, and Sophia remained at the altar, the weight of the moment pressing down upon them. As the last of the guests exited, Jason turned to Sophia, his voice low and controlled. "We need to talk," he said. "All of us." Olivia nodded, her face a mask of hurt and confusion. Sophia, looking both relieved and terrified, agreed. The three of them made their way to a private room adjacent to the ballroom, the sounds of their footsteps echoing in the now empty space. As the door closed behind them, they knew that whatever happened next would change all of their lives forever. The fairy tale wedding had transformed into something entirely different, a moment of truth that would test the limits of love, forgiveness, and the power of unexpected revelations. If this story moved you, don't keep it to yourself. Hit that like button, share it with someone who needs hope today, and of course subscribe so you never miss another powerful story. And hey, tap the notification bell so you're the first to know when the next one drops. We've got more inspiring stories waiting for you in our playlist. Dive in, get inspired, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for being here.